Hey, glad you're still here. I'm Rand Wise. And if you are enjoying my vibe, please like and subscribe. And here we go. Chapter 17. Later that week, the boys got together with Deej and told her about the audition. So my aunt can give us money to pay for the music, Deej suggested. Then Romy said, Deej, we can't let you do that, yo. Do you want this or not, Romy? Besides, she owes me. Oh, for real? Why? Supreme asked. Yeah, she owes me because I caught her husband cheating. Told her, and now she's getting all kinds of alimony from that wealthy joker. The boys could not help but to laugh. They all headed over to visit Echo. Her studio was in a small building off Alabama Avenue. She opened the door wearing a bright red sweater, a pair of jeans, and her hair was wrapped. Well, come on in, y'all. Romy had already told her what they were planning. She led them back to the studio where Benna the Spinner was working on some music. Hey, Benna, what's up, man? Supreme said as they all entered the room. Okay, so we can put together a couple of sounds for you, but Benna said y'all would still need a demo. We won't be able to help you with that portion of it. We just don't have the equipment. Echo said, wait a minute. That almost puts us way back to square one, Echo. Tuck, don't give up so easily, okay? Y'all know what? We should ask Data Dan. Yeah, we should ask Data Dan. Supreme, is you talking about that corny little nerd who turned us down when we needed a show tape? Well, see, that was different, Tuck. That was way different. He said he don't go to shows, but that don't mean he can't videotape us at the skate park or down at Stanton Terrace. There's a park over there. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea, Supreme. Good luck trying to get that geek to help us. Oh, Tuck, you know what, Tuck? You'll be lunching. I'm just keeping it real. Echo and Benner were able to put together a couple of tracks for them, and it only cost $30. She gave them a student discount. They hugged her, thanked her, and left. Supreme had one more thing to do, so the very next day, he caught up with Data Dan in the cafeteria. Romy was absent from school because his mother took him to the doctor for his physical. All of the auditioners needed to show something from their doctor stating that they did not have any medical/physical issues that would prevent them from practicing a period of time, such as asthma, allergies, and any issues with their bones. Data Dan. Yo, what's up? How you doing, Data Dan? Supreme said once he joined them at the table. Stephen Long. Wow, what do I owe this? So, how much will you charge for a demo videotape? It would depend, Stephen Long. Okay, alright. Depend on what, though? I mean, like, it would depend on how long, how many copies you want, and whether I charge you the friend rate or the regular rate. We're not friends, so that eliminates one factor. Oh man, but we can be friends though, right? And what would be in it for me if I agreed to do that? A few bragging rights about being in with the cool kids, perhaps? Supreme could not understand why this boy was making it so difficult. Okay. So, what's the regular rate? Supreme knew the team only had so much money left in their funds from Deej's aunt, so he held his breath. I don't know. For how long would you want this tape? Supreme remembered Echo telling him that a demo can be as short as 15 minutes and as long as 35 minutes. Let's say 15 minutes for one copy. Let me think about it. Oh, come on, Data Dan. Come on, man. Supreme put his arm around the boy's shoulders And Data Dan looked at his arm suspiciously. Okay, 35. Supreme thought that was a sweet deal. They had at least $75 left in their funds. Oh, okay, $35, we can work with that. Yeah, we can work with that. No, Mr. Long, $3,500. The children sitting at the table with Data Dan laughed. Yo, you know what? You lunching there, man. You lunching. No, Stephen. $35. Just pulling your chain, but on one condition. Oh, nah, what? What condition? Nah, we got conditions. Well, get me a date with Khadija Ahmed. Oh, come on, Data. You know that would be up to her. I can't make that decision for her. Ha ha. Gotcha. Well, when do you need this? And where do you want it taped? Oh, yeah, over at the skate park at Anacostia this Saturday afternoon. Cool. I'll get my security team ready. When the other kids laughed again, Supreme did not pay this boy any attention. As long as the deal was sealed, that's the only thing that mattered to him. Chapter 18. Data Dan did an awesome job taping the group at the park. And as soon as he gave them their copy, Supreme and Romy headed over to Echo's studio to make 2 more copies. Everyone passed their physical exams and they were set. It was now 2 days before they were due to leave for New York. Because of the nature of the audition and the fact that they were going to New York, Deej's father decided to hire 2 guys from the Fruit of Islam wing of the Nation of Islam. He did not want his daughter out there without security while he was traveling with Farrakhan to speak in several cities. Sahir paid for their hotel stay, made sure Kim had money for food. Supreme, Tuck, and Romy headed to Deej's house Friday afternoon after school. They carried their change of clothes and the outfits they would be auditioning in. They had caught the bus. Once they packed the van, they headed out on the way to New York.
You like that, you like that, matter of fact, we're digging that, you like that, you like that, matter of fact.
Later that evening, Woody headed into the social queue and to the back room where Smoke was.
So, what's up?
Smoke asked as he relaxed in the back room on the oval-shaped sofa, his favorite spot. I looked all over Berry Farms. I ain't find none of them clowns. I even asked a few people if they had seen them.
What? Nobody just disappears, Woody. You know they gotta be somewhere. I need you to find them.
I know, Smoke. I know. But I don't know where they at. I don't know, and other people don't know where they at either. There are no shows happening this weekend. I checked Stanton Terrace. I checked the skate park. I even checked Uptown.
Did I tell you to check Northwest? I mean, really? So while you up there checking Northwest, let me get this straight. While you up there checking Northwest, they could be running around Bird Farm somewhere. You know good and well, just as much as I do, that they wouldn't be nowhere up in no Northwest. And if there was any shows going on, don't you think I would know that already?
Alright, Woody, man, just calm down. I mean, wherever they at, they gonna show up eventually somewhere.
Somewhere. But I'll tell you what, Woody, don't you come back here until you find out where they are. Somewhere.
Woody shook his head slowly. Then he left abruptly without another word.
So nervous by yourself, apprehensive. What really matters are the simple things. Oh, what joy true love brings. Watch me now. me no care when you want to, as long as me spend some time with you. Me like that, me like that. Matter of fact, me digging that. Me like that, me like that. Matter of fact, me digging that.
Chapter 19. FOI security was very useful in being able to navigate the area of New York. They took them to dinner that night and stood post at the hotel where the group stayed. The next morning, everyone headed to the casting office on West 46th Street where the auditions were held. There were so many groups and dancers auditioning for this movie, Romy and the others wondered if they would even make it. It would only come down to 5 groups. They were led to a room that seated at least 100 people. Man, look at all these people in here, Romy complained. Listen, Romy, they are just as anxious and nervous as you are, Kim said. Well, Mom, they don't look all that anxious to me. Oh, baby, they are. Trust me. After 2 hours of waiting, it was time for the group to go and audition. Their number was finally called. If they were chosen, this would be their big break. Romy daydreamed about them winning and moving him and his mother out of Berry Farms. Crime was intensifying in D.C., and although this was his home, it was beginning to feel more like a war zone. There were 3 judges, 2 men and 1 woman. The music began, and the group danced what they had practiced. Soon, instead of paying attention to the stoic faces of the judges, they focused on having fun. Deej backflipped only twice, just enough to show the skill itself, but not to overdo it. The music stopped and they were done. Thank you, Street Spin Syndicate. We will be in touch, the woman judge said. Once they were outside, the kids began analyzing what her last words meant. I would think that she wouldn't say that they would be in touch if we did not impress them, Deej said. Then Supreme added, yeah, Deej, girl, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. Well, now, hold on. There were several groups left once y'all went in, Kim warned. Yeah, let's hope none of them are better than us, though, right? Well, now, Tuck, I'm sure you all did fine. They headed to the van, accompanied by FOI, got in and drove off to get something to eat. Now, you know what? I will say that I'm glad it's all over, right? Yeah, that's true, man. I'm glad it's over. You right, man. You right. I'm glad it's over too, man. A couple of hours later, the group was headed south, back to Washington, D.C. Chapter 20. 3 days later, the boys were on their way home from school when they spotted Smoke's caddy headed in their direction. They knew this was not going to be good. Yo, run, y'all! Tuck called out before they all split in different directions. Romy ran towards Howard Road. He soon realized he was alone. Then he started having flashbacks of the night he and his brother ran when they heard gunshots. He gave his speed all the gumption he could muster. He cut through another alley, his mind racing, wondering if his friends were safe. He heard a horn blowing, but ran faster. The horn blew again. He kept running. Then he heard his name. He looked over his shoulder only slightly, but enough to realize the car was not the black caddy. He slowed down. Cash's beige caddy pulled up next to him.
Boy, what you doing out here running?
Romy hurried towards the man's car and jumped in.
Yo, drive! Hurry up!
Get out of here!
Okay,
Drive, man, drive.
okay, I'm driving. Now tell me what's going on. What's going on, Romy?
Smoke is after us. Somebody told me when we got back from New York, and Smoke said when he finds us, he gonna kill us.
Oh, okay. So where the rest of the guys at?
Oh no, they ran in another direction. But we gotta find them, Kane.
Okay, alright, okay. Calm down. We will find them, alright?
Cassius turned several corners until he was deeper in Berry Farms. He then spotted Supreme running towards his home. Romy leaned out the window and called out to him. Supreme turned around, hurried towards the car. Yo, where's Tuck? Where Tuck at, man? Oh no, we looking for him now. Supreme hopped into the vehicle. They all looked around, no sign of him. Romy started to cry. All he could think about was his brother being shot last summer. After another 15 minutes of driving, they finally found Tuck. Cassius took the boys out to his home in Maryland and offered them something to eat.
Yeah, y'all okay?
The man asked when he returned to the kitchen where they all sat at the table.
Yeah, we okay. Thanks, Kane. We appreciate you, man.
The man decided to join the boys at the table, and he said,
Did you guys call your mothers?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, me too. I did too. My mom ain't home yet.
So, I think it's no better time to tell y'all this, but now, especially you, Romy.
What? What you gotta tell us? Yeah, what you need to tell us, Kane?
Smoke was the person that put a hit out on your brother because he wouldn't run drugs for him.
Romy dropped the burger he was eating. His mouth hung open. All he could feel was pain, anger, and fear. The room fell silent. Cassius allowed the information to sink in before saying another word.
But how do you know?
Cassius paused, gathering his thoughts, before he answered Tuck's question.
That night when it happened, I saw Woody come into the social queue. Went to the back room to meet Smoke. Then he came out the room and was talking to Brick behind the bar. Shortly after that, Smoke left with some hoe he had picked up for the night. I headed to the bathroom after that. Then I heard somebody coming in and they was talking. One of the guys' voice I ain't recognized, but the other one I did. Woody. He was bragging about shooting some kid that wouldn't cooperate. And that's what he called him. He referred to him as the kid that wouldn't cooperate.
Romy's tears were relentless. All the pain he had felt came flooding back. Supreme hugged his friend.
Yo, Kane, why are you just now telling me this, man? Why you ain't telling me this before? Because I don't think nobody would have believed me. And I don't think you was ready to hear it back then. But things are different now. Besides, the cops ain't gonna do nothing. It's your word against his, Kane. They can say you lying. I've already thought of that variable, Tuck. And that's true though. But it's still up to your family to do something with this information, Romy. And I'll testify. And you'll die, Tuck said. And that's a chance I'm ready to take. I can't hold this in any longer. I just can't keep this information no more. Especially after what you guys went through this afternoon. 'Cause I see Smoke ain't giving up. He gotta be stopped. But, Kane, they can still say you lied. You can't come up with no proof, though. Cassius didn't say anything else. But that did not mean he was not thinking.
Texas, holla if you hear me. Georgia, holla if you hear me. New York, holla if you hear me. Chi-town, holla if you hear me. This is CB. We out.
Chapter 21, it was President's Day weekend, which bought the boys some time, and they did not have to go to school the following Monday. Therefore, they camped out at Cash's house from that Friday until that Tuesday, when they would be taken to school. But first, they had to get some clothes from the house for the weekend. Derek Roman, where in the world have you been? Wendy said, as soon as her son came creeping in Saturday morning around 5.
Mom, I can't stay here.
What?
I need to lay low for a few days. I just came to get a few clothes.
Whoa. Slow down, Romy. You are 15 years old.
Mom, I'm about to turn 16 in a week.
Yeah, well, big dog difference. You called me and said that you were out and you were at somebody's house. Now, I want to know what's going on. You need to explain to me what's going on, Romy. Cassius was out in the car waiting on him. They each had 5 minutes to grab and go.
Okay, Mom, okay. I found out who killed Donut.
She placed her hands over her face and tears streamed from her eyes. Say what?
Yeah, Mom. You know Cassius Kane?
Yeah. William Kane's son, right?
Yeah, that's him. He told us.
Then we need to go to the cops.
Mom, not now. Please. The guys are waiting on me. Please, Mom. I can't stay here.
No. We are going to the cops, Romy.
But can we leave this neighborhood first? And I'll explain everything to you.
She grabbed her purse and said, okay, let's go. They headed to Cash's car. He wondered what was going on. The other boys' parents were okay with the simple explanation that they were staying over at a friend's house for the long weekend, but not Wendy. She needed answers.
What's up?
Cassius said when Wendy accompanied her son to the car. The other boys piled in the back while Wendy sat up front. My son told me, Cassius.
Now, wait a minute, hold up. I only heard them guys.
We need to go to the cops, Cassius.
Wendy, it doesn't work that way. We gotta be careful which cops we talk to. Some of them on Smoke's payroll.
Then it's gonna be the FBI. We telling somebody. No,
Okay, Wendy, alright. But do you mind if we go back to my house first? I need to get y'all out of danger.
It would only be a matter of hours before Smoke or his boys returned to Berry Farms, although they did not live there. Once they arrived at Cash's house, that's when Wendy revealed the news to the boys. Okay, so I was hoping you'd come home because I got a call from New York, Romy, And since I'm your mother, they informed me that they are casting you in that movie.
Oh, man.
Yo.
Yes.
Yo.
Yeah, we
gonna
got
be
gas.
a movie star. Yeah, man. That was good news amongst all the drama the boys were experiencing. They jumped up and down with joy. Romy called Deej to tell her, but she knew, and they had been calling everyone. So, we all at Romy. I thought we were going to practice last night.
I'm going to have to explain all that to you later, but for right now, we got to protect you. You can't be around us right now.
Huh? What is going on, Romy?
Okay, it's about my brother. We got an idea who it was that killed him.
Are you serious? Are you for real?
Yeah, but I gotta call you back. I want you to be safe, okay?
He knew that her being around them could potentially put her at risk. They went to the 7th District Police Station to report the crime. The sergeant at station happened to not be one of the officers on Smoke's payroll. He took the report, but there was no proof.
Okay, here's how it goes. At this point, he's a person of interest, and we will have to bring him in for questioning.
The sergeant explained.
Okay, and then what?
Okay, so he can't know we are the ones who reported it, Wendy said, but Cassius didn't care. He decided to go along with Wendy and her son for their sake only.
We'll bring him in for questioning, and we'll keep you anonymous.
He knew Smoke was dangerous, and he knew the danger of exposing the person who reported it. They felt much better knowing Smoke could possibly go down. 1 week later, Wendy received a call from the sergeant, and this is how that went.
Miss Roman, this is Sergeant Price. Just wanted you to know that we did bring Thaddeus Wells in for questioning. He denied it. He even had an alibi. And we were able to verify that he was at the Social Q nightclub the night around the time of the shooting.
Well, what about Woody? I think his real name is Ronald Woodson. We gave you that information. That's the guy that actually did the shooting, officer.
Well, he had an alibi too. He had a tight alibi. Somebody was able to verify his location.
Oh, you know this puts us at risk, right?
I understand, Miss Roman. Do you have any place to stay until this gets sorted out?
Wendy thought she could stay at her sister's house in Virginia, but what about the boys? Okay, so what about the fact that these kids still have to go to school? He chased them in his car while they were coming home from school.
Yeah, I understand, Miss Roman. We could post an officer at the school.
He suggested. Mind you, back in 1983, DC public schools did not have school resource officers. But that was not good enough for Wendy. She needed better protection than that. Nobody had seen Smoke or Woody since they had gone down to the police station to report him as a suspect. He hadn't gone away though. He was laying low until the heat cooled off. Or was he somewhere waiting to ambush her son and the other kids? They had to go to school.